Hello, 7th grade. Welcome back to this week's final lesson. Now, previously we've talked about converting decimals to fractions, fractions to decimals, and so on. And we've also talked about finding part given the whole in percent. Now, go ahead and take out your math notebooks and go ahead and turn to a clean sheet, naming today's date. Today's objective is I can find the whole given the part and percent. Now, things are going to be a little bit similar, but also a tiny bit different than what we've talked about previously. Let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Let's say we have an assembly. And let's say, hypothetically, we were to include the entire class. And let's say, at that assembly, we had about 280 students attend that assembly. But that only made up about 80% of the entire school. And we wanted to figure out the entire class size. So, how would we go about doing that? I'm glad you asked. We're going to be looking at the equation for finding your whole given your part and percent. Now, unlike before where we had whole times percent equals part, we're going to be doing that just a little bit differently. So, we have 280 students. That's going to be our part. And our percentage is going to be 80%. In looking at this, our equation is going to follow looking at fractions. Now, your fraction for your first part here is going to entail your part over your whole. That's going to equal your percentage over 100. Because like we've talked about previously, when converting your percentage into a decimal and then into a fraction, we can convert 80% into 80 over 100. And part being 280 on top. Now, we don't know what our whole is going to be. So like I've talked about previously, we're going to put an x in our denominator. Now looking at this, how do you think we go about solving for x? I can't put it past you guys. You're right, we're going to cross multiply, as we've talked about previously. In cross multiplication, we're going to multiply 80 by x, which will give us 80x. 280 times 100 gives me 28,000. Now we have a one-step problem. In order to solve for x, we're going to divide both sides by 80. And in doing so, will give us the answer of our whole equaling 350 students. So our entire school population is 350 students. Excellent. Let's go ahead and look at another example, shall we? Let's say we are shopping. And let's say we went to a shoe store. And let's say at that shoe store, because they have product in front, but they also have product in the back. Let's say that there are out in the front 132 shoes. And of those 132 shoes, that makes up about 24% of their total supply. What is the total amount of shoes? Well, let's first identify our parts in our equation. So our part is going to be 132. Our percent is going to be 24%. And we need to figure out the total amount of shoes in the store. So, in doing so, setting this up like we've talked about previously, 24% can just be 24 over 100. And 132 over x, and that x, once again, represents our whole. So once again, what are we going to do, class? You're right, cross multiplication. 24 times x will give me 24x. 132 times 100 will give me 13,200. Next step is to divide both sides by 24. And in doing so, will give us the total amount of shoes in the store to be 550 shoes. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to give me an email or give me a call, and I'll be more than happy to direct you or give you some extra practice to help you out with these concepts. All right. Posted on Google Classroom will be your homework assignment tonight regarding these types of problems. Let's go ahead and look at our exit slip, shall we? All right. Let's say at a certain high school, they have 86 seniors. And that makes up about 34% of the total class, or the total student body, actually. Let's do that instead. Student body. Our objective is to find the total number of students for the student body. So let's go ahead and I will pause. Go ahead and take a quick pause right here. Go ahead and have you solve this equation on your own. All right, let's go ahead and solve this, shall we? So, 86 seniors is going to represent our part. Our percentage is going to be 34%. In setting this up, 86 over x will equal 34 over 100. Once again, what are we going to do? Cross multiply. 34 times x, because I have run out of room down here, I'm going to go up here, give me 34x. And that equals 86 times 100, or 8,600. Once again, we can divide both sides by 34. So in looking at this, the answer, let me just check my math here, would give me a decimal, but you can't have 0.9 of a student. That's kind of gross. rounding, we would round to 253 for the entire student body. Join me next week when we delve more into this topic and talk about more on figuring out these kinds of problems. Stay tuned.